The 1095 Council of Clermont, catalyst of the First Crusade. The Council of Clermont, convened in November 1095 by Pope Urban II, stands as a pivotal event in medieval history. This gathering marked the initiation of the First Crusade, a military and religious campaign aimed at reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim control. The Council's resolutions and Urban II's impassioned appeal not only set the stage for centuries of crusading fervor but also reflected the complex interplay of religious, political, and social factors shaping medieval Europe. Let's explore the background, proceedings, and consequences of the Council of Clermont, demonstrating its profound impact on medieval Christendom. Background: contextualizing the Council. The Council of Clermont occurred during a period of significant upheaval and transformation in medieval Europe. By the late 11th century, Christendom faced both internal and external challenges. Internally, the investiture controversy between the papacy and secular rulers over the appointment of bishops had strained the Church's authority. The Gregorian reform movement, spearheaded by the papacy, aimed to centralize church power and enforce clerical discipline, yet this effort often clashed with the ambitions of secular rulers. Pope Urban II, elected in 1088, sought to reinforce the Church's supremacy while addressing the growing instability in Christendom. Externally, the Byzantine Empire, a bastion of Eastern Christianity, was reeling under the pressure of Turkish expansion following the pivotal Battle of Manzikert in 1071. This defeat had not only cost the Byzantines significant territory but also exposed their vulnerabilities to further incursions by the Seljuk Turks. Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos's appeal for military assistance to Pope Urban II underscored the dire situation and provided the papacy with an opportunity to mend relations between the eastern and western branches of Christianity, which had been fractured since the Great Schism of 1054. Additionally, the notion of pilgrimage to sacred sites, particularly Jerusalem, held immense spiritual significance in medieval Christian theology. The rise of Seljuk Turks had disrupted pilgrim access to the Holy Land, fueling resentment and a sense of urgency among Christians in Europe. Pilgrimage, long viewed as an act of penance and devotion, became a rallying point for Urban II, who presented the Crusade as an extension of this sacred tradition. Against this backdrop, Pope Urban II saw an opportunity to unify Christendom under the banner of a holy cause while addressing the Byzantine plea for aid. Proceedings of the Council. The Council of Clermont convened in southern France, attracting clergy, nobility, and laypersons from across Christendom. It was one of many councils called by Urban II during his tenure, but its significance transcended its local context. While the council addressed a range of ecclesiastical issues, including clerical discipline and the investiture controversy, its most significant moment came on November 27, 1095, when Pope Urban II delivered his momentous sermon. Although no verbatim transcript of his speech exists, multiple accounts provide insight into its themes and rhetoric. Chroniclers such as Fulcher of Chartres, Robert the Monk, and Baldric of Dole recorded versions of Urban's address, each emphasizing different aspects of his appeal. Urban framed the crusade as a sacred duty, emphasizing the need to defend fellow Christians in the East and liberate the Holy Land. He employed vivid imagery of suffering and desecration, painting the Muslims as a dire threat to Christendom. Urban's call resonated deeply with medieval audiences, as he promised spiritual rewards, including the remission of sins, for those who took up the cross. This theological incentive, coupled with the promise of adventure and potential material gain, proved a potent combination. Urban's speech also addressed broader societal tensions. By directing the martial energies of Europe's knights toward a common external enemy, the Pope sought to reduce internal conflicts that had plagued feudal societies. In doing so, he aligned religious objectives with pragmatic solutions to social instability. The crusade thus emerged not only as a religious endeavor but also as a means of channeling the violence and ambition of feudal lords and knights into a collective mission. Key themes in Urban II's appeal. Urban II's sermon at Clermont encapsulated several themes that would characterize the Crusades. 1. Religious zeal. Urban depicted the crusade as a divinely sanctioned mission, appealing to the deeply ingrained piety of medieval Christians. He invoked the imagery of Jerusalem as the spiritual heart of Christendom, emphasizing its desecration under Muslim control. 2. Christian unity. By emphasizing the shared Christian identity and the need to protect fellow believers, Urban sought to bridge the divide between Eastern and Western Christianity. This theme resonated with many, despite lingering tensions from the Great Schism. 3. Remission of sins. The promise of spiritual salvation became a central motivator, intertwining religious devotion with personal redemption. Urban's offer of a plenary indulgence for crusaders marked a significant theological development, enhancing the appeal of the crusade. 4. Chivalric ideals. Urban framed the crusade as an opportunity for knights to demonstrate their valor in service of God, aligning religious duty with the ethos of knighthood. Immediate reactions and preparations. Urban's call to arms met with an enthusiastic response. Reports of the council suggest that the audience erupted in cries of Deus vult. God wills it, a phrase that would become the rallying cry of the Crusades. Across Europe, the message spread rapidly through itinerant preachers and church networks, galvanizing support among all strata of society. The crusading movement that emerged was remarkably inclusive. While the knightly class formed the backbone of the military effort, large numbers of peasants, artisans, and clergy also joined. This mass mobilization, later referred to as the People's Crusade, underscored the depth of popular commitment to the cause, though it also highlighted the challenges of organizing such a diverse and often unruly force. Figures such as Peter the Hermit and Walter Sans-Avoir played key roles in rallying the common people, inspiring thousands to undertake the arduous journey to the Holy Land. However, the lack of coordination and resources among these early crusaders led to significant hardships, including famine, disease, and violent encounters along the way. Consequences of the Council of Clermont. The Council of Clermont and the subsequent launch of the First Crusade had far-reaching implications, reshaping the political, religious, and cultural landscape of medieval Europe and the broader Mediterranean world. 1. Religious impact. The Crusade reinforced the papacy's spiritual authority by positioning the Pope as the ultimate arbiter of Christian action. Urban II's leadership in mobilizing Christendom for a collective endeavor showcased the Church's capacity to unify diverse regions and peoples under a common purpose. Theologically, the Crusade cemented the concept of holy war in medieval Christianity, intertwining religious devotion with military action. This fusion would persist throughout the crusading era, influencing subsequent campaigns and shaping Christian-Muslim relations for centuries. 2. Political consequences. The Crusade marked a turning point in the relationship between Western Europe and the Byzantine Empire. While the initial aim was to assist the Byzantines, the eventual establishment of Latin states in the Levant, such as the Kingdom of Jerusalem, created tensions and rivalries that strained East-West relations. Domestically, the departure of numerous nobles and knights for the Holy Land led to shifts in power dynamics within European polities. Some rulers capitalized on the absence of crusading lords to consolidate their authority, while others grappled with the logistical and financial demands of supporting the expedition. 3. Social and cultural transformations. The First Crusade fostered a sense of pan-European identity, as participants from diverse regions came together under a shared religious banner. This nascent sense of unity, however, coexisted with growing antagonism toward non-Christians, particularly Jews and Muslims. The crusading spirit often fueled violent outbursts, such as the massacres of Jewish communities during the People's Crusade. Culturally, the Crusades facilitated exchanges between East and West, exposing Europeans to new ideas, technologies, and goods. These interactions, though fraught with conflict, contributed to the gradual transformation of medieval European society. 4. Long-term legacy. The success of the First Crusade in capturing Jerusalem in 1099 was hailed as a miraculous victory, solidifying the legacy of the Council of Clermont as the starting point of an epochal movement. However, the establishment of Crusader states also laid the groundwork for future conflicts, as the fragile footholds in the Levant faced constant pressure from Muslim forces. Critiques and controversies. While the Council of Clermont and the First Crusade are often viewed as triumphs of Christian unity and piety, they also invite critical scrutiny. The rhetoric employed by Urban II has been criticized for its polarizing and inflammatory nature, which exacerbated Christian-Muslim antagonism. Furthermore, the violent excesses of the crusading movement, including the slaughter of civilians, raise ethical questions about the means employed to achieve religious goals. Conclusion. The 1095 Council of Clermont was a transformative moment in medieval history, initiating a movement that would shape the course of European and Middle Eastern history for centuries. Pope Urban II's call to arms galvanized Christendom, channeling religious devotion, political ambition, and social energies into a campaign that transcended borders and social classes. While the Crusades brought both triumphs and tragedies, their origins at Clermont underscore the enduring power of faith and the complex motivations that drive historical change. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to Medieval Chronicles 1066 for more journeys back to the Middle Ages. Stay curious.